Pak Kres? Oke, bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Oke, bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning everyone. How are you today? Really, you're fine? How are you this morning? I'm great. Bisa? I'm great. I'm good. Not always fine. Ulang ya, kita jawabnya sama-sama. Kalau saya mention semangat pagi, bilangnya apa? Semangat pagi, jawabnya apa? I'm great. Yang kenceng dong. Jangan kalah semangat sama saya. Oke, bareng-bareng. Semangat pagi. Oke, sebelah sini fine. Coba sebelah sini. Semangat pagi. Udah sarapan belum? You have snacks, right? Yes? Okay, you can have it. Okay, guys, first of all, before I start, okay, this program, this seminar, saya mau ngucapin terima kasih terlebih dahulu kepada Bapak Rektor kita tercinta. Sudah kenal bukan? Belum, Masya Allah. Okay, I wanna great, delightful thank you for our Rektor tercinta, Bapak Profesor Doktor, siapa? Insinyur Muhammad Wahyudi, MCom, MPD, IPU, Asian Engineering. Ini nggak ada yang tahu. Loh, that's our rektor loh. Siapa guys? Profesor Dr. Insinyur Muhammad Wahyudi, MCom, MPD, IPU Asian Inc. and our Warek 1 bidang akademik. Siapa? Ibu Diah Puspita Sari MCom yang tercinta. And our Warek 2 bidang kegiatan siapa? Bapak Suharyanto MCom. And then tidak lepas saya ucapkan terima kasih juga kepada Bapak Kaprodi kita. Ini supervisornya dari tim lembaga bahasa ada di sana tuh nanti ngasih sambutan. Ada Dr. Agus Priyadi MPD, beliau adalah Kaprodi dari Sastra Inggris Literatur Study Program. Dan saya perkenalkan your moderator today yang kebetulan saya adalah lembaga bahasa Universitas Binasana Informatika dan juga thanks a lot to my team. Ada Mr. Ari Iswanto Wibowo MPD dan juga ada Miss Retno Rahayuningsi MPD di belakang sana. Oke, sudah kenal ya dengan kami. Oke, hari ini kegiatan kita adalah you can read from our spanduk di depan sana. TOEFL seminar, TOEFL tips and tricks how to do the TOEFL test. Ini adalah rangkaian kegiatan yang kita laksanakan starting point from the socialization on Zoom session with me. Are you remember? Ingat nggak? Ingat? Ingat, nanti saya tanya pertanyaan mengenai sosialisasi kemarin. Kemudian, we have done untuk pelatihannya, workshopnya, starting from the listening skill. And then what? Second one skillnya apa guys? Teman-teman? Structure and written expression. The third one skill apa guys? Yang kencang? Reading skill, suaranya mana? Kurang minum ya? Minta snack lagi, coba ke belakang. Oke, setelah kita lalui rangkaian 3 skill on the TOEFL, kita akan menghadapi tes TOEFL di tanggal 12 dan 13 Februari. But before of that, kalian diharapkan mengikuti seminar Kaliabang secara offline dengan kami di sini dan our guest native speaker in front of you. The beloved one, the beautiful one. Our guest speaker, Mrs. Tiana Emma Morati. Silakan big applause to her. Oke. Terima kasih. Oke. Now everyone, sebelum kita masuk ke acara inti kita hari ini, saya ada sedikit permintaan untuk kalian aktif bertanya. Relate about the TOEFL test. Remember, yang akan melakukan tes adalah kamu, bukan saya. Kind of difficulty that you face when you are doing the TOEFL test. Guys, apapun itu ask. Sama our speaker. Paham semuanya? Aktif bertanya. If you cannot speak English well, you can mix your language. There's no problem. Tidak akan dimarahi, tidak akan di point on. No, it's okay. Semangat ya. Ini duduknya kenapa ya? Senang sekali. We have space, two space in 2 lines in front of you. Ya Allah, ini bangku menentukan nilai kah? Belum tes ya? It's okay. Untuk mempersingkat waktu saya, sekarang kita akan meminta sambutan sepatah 2 patah kata, kurang deh kayaknya, 5 patah kata lebih dari Bapak Kaprodi kita yang tercinta, Bapak Profesor, Bapak Dr. Agus Priyadi MPD, amin, sebentar lagi Profesor. Silahkan, give applause guys.
Thank you, Miss Yanti. Halo, Miss Tiana. How are you? Thank you very much. Thank you. Okay, good morning, students. Should I speak in Bahasa or in English? Up to me. Okay. Ya, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. I feel very delighted, very happy, and very blessed to see you all around me this morning. Seeing you attending this very most important TOEFL agenda. So, what is it? Since we have the native speaker here, Miss Tiana Ena Morati MAT Sol, it's going to be very interesting agenda for you to have this TOEFL tips and trick. So I urge you to utilize this moment to have asking and answering sessions with the speaker and discussing with her, or probably sharing your experience dealing with TOEFL tips and tricks with you. Jadi selamat pagi buat teman-teman semua, saya senang sekali bisa berada di antara kalian pagi hari ini. Semoga acara ini bisa bermanfaat. Kebetulan kami dari Lembaga Bahasa dan Prodi Sastra Inggris, Bahasa Inggris, Universitas Binasaran Informatika mengundang ada native speaker di sini, ada Miss Tiana Enamorati, beliau dari Sussex University, dari England, dari UK. So, kebetulan sudah datang beliau, manfaatkan sesi ini, khusus yang pagi, sesi ini untuk sharing ideas, kemudian asking and answering with her, tanya jawab dengan beliau, kemudian mungkin dari teman-teman semua ada yang punya pengalaman terkait TOEFL atau terkait dengan kebahasa Inggrisan gitu ya, kendala mungkin atau kesulitan terkait dengan bahasa Inggris. Silahkan nanti berkonsultasi, bertanya jawab dengan beliau mumpung kita mengundang, dan tolong dimanfaatkan. Terakhir, semoga bermanfaat dan kedepannya teman-teman semua jadi tahu bahwa TOEFL itu minimal sebagai syarat kelulusan untuk sekarang semester 8, right? You are in semester 8 untuk pengambilan ijazah, kemudian nanti pada saat sudah lulus dari BSI bisa bekerja dan memanfaatkan your skill of TOEFL, kemampuan bahasa Inggris untuk TOEFL-nya, walaupun nanti ada beberapa skill lain, ada IELTS, ada DET, Duolingo English Test, dan yang lainnya. Tapi hari ini tolong dimanfaatkan dulu agendanya, momennya bersama beliau. Terima kasih, semoga bisa I try to encourage you, to motivate you to be out loud today, bisa berparticipate dengan acara ini. Terima kasih. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Saya kembalikan ke Miss Yanti. Thank you, Miss.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Oke, thank you so much Mr. Agus. Masih semangat semuanya? Oke, gini aja deh. Kalau saya sebut semangat pagi, jawabnya semangat pagi ya, even though we are now on 30 past from 10, oke? Tetap bagi kalian, bagi saya, pagi, siang, malam tetap semangat pagi. Oke semuanya? Semuanya ya? Oke ya? Oke, semangat pagi. Lagi, sebelah sini nggak ada suaranya. Semangat pagi. Good, tough. Okay, now we are in, where is it? Acara inti pada pagi hari ini. Kita ada guest speaker, akan masuk langsung ke materi. Silakan, Mrs. Tiana Enamorati, give applause to her.
Halo, selamat pagi. Good morning. Firstly, thank you so much for inviting me here today. Thank you very much, Universitas BSI. I am very happy to see you this morning. Okay, can you see me? Bisa dilihatin ya? Kalau saya di sini ya, gak apa-apa? Okay. Sebenarnya bahasa Indonesia saya lumayan, saya sudah 12 tahun tinggal di sini. Tapi, for today, it's best if I speak to you in English for this presentation, because this is about your proficiency in English. If you want to ask me a question, it's okay if you are nervous to ask in English, you can also ask me in Bahasa Indonesia, but let's try and practice English, okay? It might help you feel more comfortable when you take the test if you practice your English as much as you can before test day. So you will begin your test the 12th, yeah, tanggal 12. Wow, dekat banget. Are you guys nervous? Don't be nervous, okay? We're going to try to go over some tips and some tricks to help you feel more relaxed so that you know what to expect. If I'm speaking too quickly, say ya. Kalau saya terlalu cepat, yep, bilang aja ya. Okay, good. All right. Why don't we get started? Can you, I know I'm short. Can you see me? You guys can come forward. Kalian jauh banget. So I want to go here, so I'm closer to you. Is that okay? Okay. All right. Can we have the first slide, please? Okay. Right. Before we begin, I would like to ask you to start thinking and speaking in English. Okay? This is to help you be more comfortable, not only for your test day, but for this presentation. If you think in English, speak in English, turn on the English part of your brain now. That will help you, okay? We all kind of have our languages in different areas, so it's good to try and activate as much English as you can for the next 2 hours, okay? So, I have a request. Please, can you take the next 1 to 2 minutes in English and tell the person next to you why you have to take this TOEFL ITP test and how you think it might help you in the future. I also want you to tell the person next to you what skills you feel confident in English and what skills you feel like you need to work on before your test. Okay? Can you take the next 1 to 2 minutes and tell the person next to you those things? Okay? Are you ready? English, yeah? Okay. Ready, steady, go.
Each other. Oh, okay. Not pick up, right? Oh.
Okay. I heard some English. Not all in English. I heard a lot of Bahasa Indonesia. I love Bahasa Indonesia. I love listening to Bahasa Indonesia. But for now, let's try and keep it in English if you can. Okay. Next slide, please. All right. Hopefully, while you were speaking to your friends, you came up with some of these responses. So you will be taking the TOEFL ITP, which stands for Institutional Testing Program. This is based on the TOEFL IBT test. Has anyone here ever taken a TOEFL before? TOEFL IBT or TOEFL PBT or TOEFL ITP? There's lots of letters. Has anyone taken TOEFL before? Pernah? Belum? Semuanya belum? Has anyone ever taken IELTS before? Yeah? Some? Okay. This is a specific kind of test. All right? This is a test that you can use locally for local institutions. So if after your degree, you would be applying to PNS, the BUMN, they are going to often ask for a score. So your future jobs, it would help if you already have this score, okay? Also, for the LDPD scholarship, if that is something that you think you see in your future, having a TOEFL score would help, okay? Also, it helps if you are considering continuing your degree somewhere else, maybe S2, maybe S3, having a proficiency score in English can help with those applications. And also, it can help in the job market. Maybe you want to work for an IT firm. Maybe you want to work for an international organization. Having a score with English proficiency will help, okay? Often, companies will have their own test, but if you have one, if you have a score already, that can help, okay? So these are all good reasons to try and do the best you can to get the highest score possible on your TOEFL ITP next week. Okay, next slide, please. All right, so I know you had a workshop already where you discussed what will be on the test. We're going to just very briefly review that just so you know. Your TOEFL ITP will test you on listening, structure, which is grammar, and reading, okay? This is not a productive skill test. When I say productive skill, I mean speaking and writing. You will not be tested on that, okay? Now, it's for that reason that you may have to take a different test in the future if you want to study abroad, work abroad. You need to have productive skills tested, but not for this. This is not for productive skills. So you don't have to be nervous about speaking. You don't have to be nervous about writing. You will not be asked that, okay? These are going to be multiple choice. So the answers are there. You just have to pick them. All right, your listening test is in 3 different parts. There's part A, which is short conversations, back and forth, one speaker, one speaker. That's it. Okay? Gampang ya? All right. The next one is longer conversations, maybe back and forth 2 or 3 times. Okay? The last one is like what you are doing right now. You're listening to a long speech. Yeah? If you can follow me, then this is what you will experience on your test. A long speech by a native speaker going on and on and on about boring information. That is the same, okay? So if you're with me now, then you've got part C. All right, the next part is the structure. These are tricky, I'll be honest. They are difficult, these ones. They are on grammar, and they're detailed. And so you have to really focus on what they are asking you to find. Are you finding the correct word to complete the sentence? Or are you finding the part of the grammar, tata bahasa, that is wrong, that is incorrect, okay? It's very important to know what are they asking. Do they want the correct answer, or do they want you to find the mistake? Okay? All right. The very last bit would be the reading. And you get 5 passages, typically, and then you'll get a lot of questions per passage, usually 8, 10, 12 questions for each reading paragraph. All right? Okay, next slide, please. Okay, this is what it looks like when you actually do it. How? There's a lot of questions and not a lot of time. All right, you get 50 questions for listening, okay? You get 40 questions for grammar, and you get another 50-ish questions for reading, okay? So be aware, you haven't got lots of time. And this is where students tend to make mistakes. They tend to panic. Pilih aja, and then just pick one. Okay, we need to try and not panic, because often we pick the incorrect one when we panic. But you don't have a lot of time. That is true. It's actually quite fast, each question. So you have to be ready for the quickness, the pace of it, okay? The total score you would be getting will be between 310 and 677. They're weird numbers, don't worry about them. You want to try and get above 400, 500, okay? If you want a good score, you gotta be above 500. And I will help you try and make some progress with that. Next slide, please. Thank you. Okay. So we're gonna go through each skill individually. I'll give you some tips. If you have questions, you can ask me, or you can wait to the end. We'll just go through the tips quickly now. And if you do have anything you're too scared to ask, write it down, ask me later, that's okay. Okay, so for part A is the short one line dialogue, okay? In this, you will hear maybe 30 short conversations. One question, one conversation, all right? It'll be 2 voices. Can be man, woman, 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 man, man. You'll hear 2 different voices. TOEFL is an American test. You can expect it to have usually an American accent for most of the questions. Now, I have a bit of a mix. Logat saya agak campur sih. Saya ada Inggris, ada Amerika. Okay? I have a mix of an accent. You will probably hear mostly American accents. So be prepared. One of the ways you can be prepared, feedback. One of the ways you can be prepared is to listen to American accents. Meaning, watch American TV shows, listen to music, watch YouTube videos with people speaking in English in different accents. Try and get a little bit accustomed to that sound, because we have different pronunciations in English, because English is all over the place. So that's one thing you can do. When you are listening to the conversations, usually there is a question and then an answer. The second speaker usually is responding. Pay attention to the second speaker. Often the question you will be asked will have something to do with the second speaker, with that response, okay? Try to imagine where the conversation is happening. Try to imagine the context, okay? And this is something for every part of the listening. You have to try and imagine the context. Try, if you can, this is important, to read ahead. Jadi, Jangan dengerin soalnya. Don't listen to the question. Think, write. Next question. No. Try not to do that. Try to read ahead. You hear the question, answer, and then read the next one. As fast as you can, read the next question. Because if you can anticipate what the questions will be, you will score better. So when they are giving you the instructions, read the options. A, B, C, D, itu apa ya? Oh, okay, kayaknya ini tentang binatang. Okay, dengerin. Oh, iya, benar, binatang. Jadi, tebak dulu, guess before you hear the question, read the answers. So that you have an idea. Oh, this conversation is going to be about music. This conversation is going to be about school. This conversation will be about literature. Okay? Read ahead so that you are prepared to guess, okay, this is the context, this is the topic. Now, the other thing that you do have to try to do is be prepared for things like idioms, things that we say that like aren't taught in school, localized language. So that would be things you hear in films, things you hear in songs, things you hear that native speakers tend to use. Those may come up in the test. So trying to familiarize yourself with material that's not just academic is a really good idea, so that you're able to hear where they are using language of everyday speech, okay? It's not just for academics, it's also for everyday speech. All right, next slide, please. Here's an example. I'm not going to play you a recording. I'll just show you. This is what it's going to look like. On your test, you will see A, B, C, D. Now, on the recording, you will hear two voices, okay? The woman, you might hear a woman's voice first. Why is Barbara feeling so happy? Man, she just started working in a real estate agency. And then the narrator is going to ask you your question. What does the man say about Barbara? Okay. You have four choices. She always liked her work in real estate. She began a new job. She just bought some real estate. Or D, she bought a real estate agency. Please tell the person next to you A, B, C, or D. Okay? What do you think? B. B. Okay, next slide, please. Yes, the correct answer is B. Okay? We don't know. A, we don't know if she liked her job in real estate. It doesn't say that. Okay? We do know, yes, she started her new job. That we know. We don't know anything about her buying real estate, and she certainly didn't buy a real estate agency. Okay? So what you're going on is what information you are given. Don't assume anything outside of what you are given. Okay? In the dialogue, the man says she started a new job. In the question, she began. Look for words that are synonyms. Look for words that mean the same thing. Okay? So when you hear the dialogue, focus in on what verbs, kata kerja, what verbs are being used. Or what nouns, kata benda, what nouns are they using? Are there other ways to say this? Okay? Now, if you read those questions, those options first, then you hear the conversation, it's already easier. So you have to try to read ahead, and that will help you feel more prepared. Okay, next slide, please. Okay, here's another example. Woman, I don't like this painting very much. Man, neither do I. Narrator, what does the man mean? Okay. A, he doesn't like the painting either. B, he doesn't know how to paint. C, he doesn't have any paintings. And D, he doesn't know what to do. Okay, which one? Tell your friend next to you, which one? A, B, C, or D? Okay, all right, next slide, please. Yes, the correct answer is A. Why do we know it is A? We don't actually have any other information aside from that. He says, neither do I. When we are agreeing in English, we can say either if it is in a positive context, neither negative. She said, I do not like this painting. I don't like this painting. That's negative. So the response in agreement is also negative. Neither do I, or neither do I. Neither, neither, both are correct. Okay? Since we know that it's negative, the response will be negative if he's in agreement. We don't know if he can paint. It doesn't say if he can paint. We don't know if he doesn't know what to do. He's not talking about an action. He's talking about his likes. So pay attention to the question itself and don't assume any other information than what you hear. Okay? All right, next slide, please. Okay, that's the end of listening part A. Are there any questions about listening part A, or shall we move on to listening part B? Are you guys feeling better about listening part A? It's not that scary. They're short dialogues. You just have to listen, focus, and then read ahead and choose the right answer. Choose the answer you were given the information for. If you don't have the information, it won't be correct. Okay? All right, listening part B is a slightly longer conversation. So instead of one voice, second voice, you might hear 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, okay? It's a little bit of a back and forth. This can be tricky because you don't know who you're listening for. You will only hear the listening once. And since you don't know who you're listening for, it can be scary. But the information will be given. You just have to listen for the right kind of information. I'm going to give you an example. Firstly, again, like part 1, like part A, context. Where is this conversation happening? Where is it taking place? Who are these people? Are they in a cafe? Are they on university campus? Are they in a shop? Try and give context to the conversation in your head. Also, listen for any other information about the location. It will give you all the information you need. So just listen for any times of day, any specific locations, any information that gives you an idea of where this conversation is happening and why these two people are speaking. Also, like in part A, don't take too long to answer. Read ahead, answer, and then read the next set of possible answers. If you can anticipate, you will always do better. Okay? Next slide, please. Here's an example of what part B will look like. I can't believe we have to read this entire book by Monday. Okay, you hear a man's voice. Now, once you hear that, already you can get an idea of where this conversation is happening and why, right? I can't believe we have to read this entire book by Monday. He's probably a student. Probably a student. I can't believe it means he's probably surprised. Oh, I can't believe we have to read this entire book by Monday. Okay? So already the first speaker, you have information. He must be a student. This must be an assignment. Okay. The woman says, some teachers think you have nothing else to do but prepare for their class. So she's complaining. Yeah, they're complaining. She said, teacher, okay, now I know. This conversation in a school about an assignment, tugas, PR. Okay, now I know. So now you have a context within the first 2 lines. Oh, well, my boss thinks the same thing about my job. That is the only thing I have to do. Okay, so this is a student who has a job, probably university student. So now we have an idea. These are 2 adults. They are in a university. They have an assignment. And they're complaining about it because it's too much work. I think you can all sympathize. The woman says, oh, I didn't know you were working. What do you do? And the man says, I do bookkeeping work for a small company on Saturdays. This weekend, I have to prepare an end-of-the-quarter reports to give to the accountant on Monday. Masih mengeluh, he's still complaining. I have so much work. I have to do this work for my part-time job. I have to do this work for my university course. Okay? And then she says, ooh, you better start reading soon. So you can tell by this conversation who they are, where they are, and why they're having this conversation. They're complaining about not having enough time. Okay, so you have questions here. A. Oh, sorry, the narrator says, what does the man imply about the assignment? A, it's too much to read in such a short time. B, he has already read the material. C, he can read at work. Or D, the teacher knows he has a job. Tell your friend beside you, which one? Which one is the correct answer? Okay, new slide, please. Did anyone guess A? Did anybody guess A so far? Are you guys with me? I know you're tired. It's okay. The correct answer is A. And your tip is the fact that he said from the start, I can't believe I have so much reading to do. That was your clue that he's complaining about the amount of work. This is a complaint about how much reading he has to do on top of his other work. So as you're listening, you have to listen for what kind of speech are they making? Are they complaining? Are they celebrating? Are they surprised? Are they happy? Are they sad? Listening for the mood, the tone will help. Okay, next slide, please. All right, that's all I have for part B. Are we okay so far? Okay. All right, part C. You'll hear a short lecture or talk, basically what you're hearing from me now. And then you'll have questions. I can see you better from here. Then you'll have questions about the talk. With this one, again, it has to do with context. Where is this talk happening? What is the subject being discussed? Is this an academic lecture? Is this a meeting? Is this an announcement? Try to figure it in your head. Where is the conversation? Sorry, not conversation. Where is the lecture? Where is the talk? Why is it happening? Who is giving it? Who is listening? Try and imagine that in your head while you're looking at this next section. Okay? Again, you want to read ahead. You will be asked questions in the order that you hear them. Question 1 will be about whatever was said at the beginning of the talk. So as you listen, You're going in order. Question 1 will be the first question. It will be what they heard, what they said first. Question 2 will be answered a little bit later in the talk. Okay, so it will be in order. Try to have an idea of what they're talking about before you start answering by looking at the questions. Okay, this question is about cars. Okay, maybe the talk will be about cars. Okay, so having a context will help you prepare. Next slide, please. I'll give you an example. All right. It's like feedback. Okay. All right. Here is an example of how long part C you are going to listen for. It's quite long. You're going to actually hear someone speaking for 2 whole paragraphs. It's easy to get lost in these words. Again, trying to establish in your head what the speaker is saying, who is the speaker talking to, why are they giving this talk, will help you anticipate the questions. So I'll read this out loud and then you tell me. The reason we're meeting today is to introduce the plan for our new office layout. Starting next month, instead of cubicles, we will have an open office. There will be no cubicle walls or partitions. Instead, desks will be arranged in clusters for each department. The desks in each department will be facing each other in clusters of 4 or 6. We feel this will facilitate better communication between workers in each department. It will also create a more welcoming environment for our clients. The department managers will still have their own offices, but each will have large windows and glass doors to make employees and clients feel welcome to come inside. We're going to paint the walls and put in new carpeting. The project will start on the 1st of next month and should take about 3 weeks to complete. We will be moving to the 3rd floor during that period. Okay, before you look at the answers, where is this taking place? School, shop, office. That's right. Okay, good. The narrator's question is, what is the speaker mainly discussing? A, an office renovation. B, building construction. C, a marketing campaign. Or D, new carpeting. What is the main topic of the listening? Very good. Okay, next slide, please. Thank you. Yeah, it is. It's an office renovation. You had some key words. Key words, obviously, they're talking about offices, desks, cubicles, new. You hear the words you need to answer the question, okay? Our new office layout. So obviously the office exists, they're renovating it. Okay. Next slide, please. All right. That's it for listening so far. How are you feeling about your listening section? Those are the sections that you can expect. A, B, and C. Short conversations, slightly longer conversations, and then one long talk. Do you have any questions about listening for now? Are we okay? You can ask me later if you want to know more later, okay? We'll talk about how to work with listening a little bit later on as well. I'll give you some extra tips. Which one do you think is the scariest? Part A, Part B, or Part C for listening? C? Yeah. It's a lot of listening at once. But if you read through the questions, it will help. You can have a guess. What should I listen for? I need to listen for information. Okay? If you don't know, you can guess. It is okay to guess. But don't spend too much time trying to decide. You want to move through the questions as quickly as you can because you want to read ahead and guess, what should I listen for? Okay? All right, I'm going to quickly move on to structure. I'm just going to check the time. Okay, so I'm going to be honest. This part of the test is the scariest, I think, for most people. If I had to do this part in Bahasa Indonesia, I would be terrified. Okay? Like, this is the part that scares everyone. Nobody likes structure. Nobody. Nobody likes written expression. No one. If you do, interesting. I would like to meet you. This is very, very detail-orientated. The questions are designed to trick you. Okay? They're designed to test your detail. So trying to pay as much attention as you can to what you are being asked to find will help. All right, so firstly, there's going to be 2 sections to this. The first section, you will complete the sentence. The second section, you're going to find the mistake in the grammar, tata bahasa. Yeah, yang mana, which one is wrong? Okay, you're trying to find yang salah, not the correct one. You're trying to find the mistake. So be careful you read those instructions. Okay, so pay attention to the sentence in the question. Read it carefully. Make sure you are aware in part 1, there will be a missing word. There will be a gap. What should go in that gap? Should it be subject? Should it be a noun? Okay, kata benda, kata kerja. Should it be a verb? Should it be an adjective? Should it be plural? Should it be singular? Check out the rest of the sentence and you'll have an idea what should go in that gap. Okay? Also, this one is a good one for process of elimination. Do you know what I mean? Process of elimination. Jadi, you have 4 choices. Okay? You have a gap. Coba, try each one. A, cocok enggak? Enggak. B, cocok enggak? Enggak. C, cocok. Oh, okay, mungkin cocok. Okay. D, enggak cocok. Oh, okay. Pasti C. Because you can look and quickly, in your mind, think, does this fit? It doesn't fit? Does this fit? Maybe. Check all of them and then decide which one fits best. You might not know why it fits. Gak apa-apa. You don't have to know why, but knowing it sounds right is how you can make that decision quickly. Harus cepat. You got to be quick to figure it out. Don't spend, if you can, no more than 30 seconds, 30 detik, on each question. If you don't know, you can guess and move on. But don't leave everything blank because, oh, question 2, aduh, susah, gimana ya, and then all of a sudden, all your time is gone. Don't waste your time on one question. Try to move quickly if you can. Okay? Next slide, please. Here's an example. You tell me. Blank was backed up for miles on the freeway. A, yesterday. B, in the morning. C, traffic. D, cars. I'm hearing C, I'm hearing A, I'm hearing D. Okay. Let's try it one by one. Yesterday was backed up for miles on the freeway? No. Good. In the morning was backed up yesterday? No, that doesn't make any sense, does it? Traffic was backed up for miles on the freeway? Cars was backed up for miles on the freeway. This is a tricky one. This is a tricky one. I want you to think about plurals and singulars. All right, next slide, please. The correct answer is traffic. Did any of you guess traffic? Why is it not cars? Does anyone know? What is the next word in the sentence? Was or were? If it is was, we can't say cars was backed up. It should be cars were backed up. Were is the plural form of to be. When the noun is plural, more than one, that verb has to, harus ikut. Plural, plural, that's got it, that has to go with it. So it has to be were in order for cars to be okay. So it can't be cars. Traffic is a collective noun. It is plural already. There's no S, but it is plural, okay? So it's a collective noun. We can use collective nouns with was, okay? So collective noun was is okay. Traffic was backed up for miles. Do you see how detailed that is? That's pretty detailed. But plurals in singular form. They love asking you about that on TOEFL, okay? So keep in mind how your plurals work. Was, were, is it okay? Is it not okay? Is that collective? Is it singular? Is it plural? Check out the noun form. They love to ask you that. It's very simple if you focus on it. But if you rush through the question, it's easy to get wrong. So you must be quick, but don't rush. Okay? Really focus. Do they match? Should it be was? Should it be were? Okay. Next slide, please. Here's another one. This is not a plurals question. This one is more for vocabulary. Jupiter's moons can easily be seen through binoculars or small telescope. A, either. B, if. C, whether. D, or. What do you think? Okay. Next slide, please. Did anyone guess? Oh, sorry, back one. Thank you. Did anyone guess A? I didn't hear many A's. With this one, it's a vocabulary question. We use either and or together, like we use neither and nor. Do you remember the conversation from the listening? I don't like the painting. Neither do I. Neither do I. Okay, that's the negative form. Now, we use either or either as well when we're talking about two comparable options. Could be, what do you like for breakfast? I like either nasi goreng or bubur. So you can use either and or when you're describing two similar parts of speech. Can be noun, noun, verb, verb, adjective, adjective. As long as they're parallel, as long as they're the same, you can use either or, neither nor for the negative, okay? So Jupiter's moons can be seen through either you will be asked vocabulary as well as grammar questions for structure. You can't use if or whether because in Bahasa Indonesia you have kalau, but you use kalau a little bit differently to how we use it in English. So you have to be careful not to get distracted by how it works in Indonesian. All right, next slide, please. All right. That's the structure question. That's the structure section. Are there any questions about that so far? So far we're okay? Okay, are you guys still alive? I can see you're all just like, she's killing us with grammar. I'm sorry. But it's good that you're familiar. If you're familiar with the kinds of questions you'll be asked, you will do better. All right, tips for the next part of your written expression, your structure part. This is the one where you're going to be asked to find what is wrong. Don't find the correct answer. Find the mistake. So this one, you've got to be careful. This one, however, it's good to rely on your instinct. If you listen to songs in English, if you watch movies in English, if you watch YouTube videos in English, you're used to hearing how people use it, which means sometimes things can sound wrong and you're not sure why, but oh, that doesn't sound right. That would be the answer you need to find on this one. That doesn't sound quite right. That's the one you're going to go for. Okay? You need to read these questions very carefully. They will make tiny mistakes. Again, maybe there's an S and it should be no S. Maybe they use a or the and they shouldn't use a or the. So you have to read these questions super carefully. But again, not too long. You have to move on. So often it's going to be just instinct. It sounds wrong, so that's probably the one I should choose. Okay? Be careful with verb forms, plurals and singulars, adjectives. Are they using the adjective correctly or the adverb correctly? Try to find each little part of speech. Be prepared to be asked about them. And I know it's a lot to say. It's a lot to ask. But often, like I said, you might just trust your instincts. It sounds wrong here. Go with that. I'll give you an example. Next slide, please. Okay, thanks. All right. Oh, I have some extra tips. When you're reading through the questions, focus on the words that are underlined because they are asking you specifically for those words. So if it doesn't stand out as wrong immediately, go back and just look at what is underlined. Sometimes there's an extra a or the or an s where it shouldn't be. Focus back in on those. So read the whole sentence. If it stands out as wrong, okay, circle, move on. If it doesn't, go back and focus on each underlined part. Only focus on those and see if you can find a mistake inside one of those. Okay? Again, very quickly, eliminate what seems correct. If it looks right, okay, that's not what we're looking for. So again, process of elimination. Okay, that looks right, I won't touch it. That looks right, okay. That may be wrong. Compare what seems like it doesn't fit. So here's an example. On Ellesmere Island in the Arctic, one fossil forest consists of a nearly 100 large stumps scattered on an exposed coal bed. You don't have to know what they're talking about. You don't have to know anything about the Arctic or about coal beds or about fossil forests. You just need to know grammar-wise, secara tata bahasa, what isn't right. What do you think? A, B, C, or D? Any other guesses? Yeah. Okay, next slide, please. B is correct. B. Now, why was it B? We don't need A, nearly. Nearly is enough. Okay? The sentence should read, on Ellesmere Island in the Arctic, one fossil forest consists of nearly 100 large stumps scattered on the exposed coal bed. It should be nearly 100, not nearly 100. Do you see what I mean? Nearly 100. So like, hampir 100 is what they're saying. But that A needs to go on the other side. Okay? All right, next slide, please. I know it's tricky. I know it's a tiny detail. But you have to read them carefully. They will try and trip you up. Here's another one. The surface conditions on the planet Mars are the more like the Earth's than are those of any other planet in the solar system. Which one do you think is wrong? Maybe. Okay, next slide, please. Okay. B is wrong. B. We don't need the. The shouldn't be there. We can use the more in a different context. More than, okay? So in comparative structure is more populated than, Jakarta is more populated than Solo, okay? Not Jakarta is the more populated than Solo. You could have the if you had another noun after it. The more populated city, you can have bisa. But that's not what it says. When you just have the adjective after it, you don't need the. So that's why that one is B. They are tricky. I know they're tricky. I don't know if I'm making you feel better or worse about these questions. They are tricky. Okay, next slide, please. Okay, that's it for grammar and structure. Pay attention to what you're being asked. What part of speech? Is it a noun, verb, adjective, plural, singulars? Okay? Are you being asked to find the correct answer or the mistake? So make sure you read them carefully. Do you have any questions for me about the structure part? Structure and written expression part? Not yet? Okay. All right, we're going to do the reading section. This is the last section you're going to have to answer questions for. Students often don't like the reading section because they get too upset about the vocabulary. Kosakatanya kayak akademis banget. And so it's scary. But you don't have to understand every single word. Itu nggak penting. You don't have to understand every word in the reading. What makes you scared is it feels very overwhelming when it's lots and lots of new vocabulary. What you need is just to be prepared to answer questions based on the reading, on the information that's being provided. You need to look out for keywords, nouns, verbs, what is the context. And again, just like the listening, these questions will go in order. Question 1 is going to be found at the top of the reading, okay? Question 2, a little bit further down. They will be in sequence. So you can always go back to the reading and check. Oh, this is the last question. The answer should be at the end of the passage, somewhere in the end, okay? So it's getting an idea of where the answers are in the text is important. Also, here's another big tip. Read the questions first, not the passage. Don't read the passage first. Read the question first, then go back and read the passage. Because you already have an idea what to look for. And also, students tend to only read the passage. Oh, banyak. Okay. And question, A, B, C. Like, lupa semuanya udah dilupa. Like, don't read and then answer the question. Question, read, check. Question, go back, read and check. Don't read it first and then answer the questions. You'll never remember them. I can't remember if I read 2 paragraphs. I can't remember all that information. Go back to the passage to check. Read the question, go back and read it and read the information, okay? All the answers are there. You just have to go back and find them, okay? So, there are 2 types of ways you can read. You can skim and you can scan. To skim is you're just reading for keywords of information. In my question, it says, This professor is talking about what subject? Now, I can go back to the passage and skim. Oh, he mentioned chemical. He mentioned beakers. He mentions laboratory. Oh, okay, those are key words. Go back to the question now. Okay, this professor is a professor of science, technology, art, history. Oh, okay, I just saw laboratory, chemicals. Oh, okay, he must be science. So you're looking at the question before finding the information in the reading. That would be skimming. You're just going through and checking for general information on the topic. Scanning is another way to find information. If the question says, what year was this book published? What year was the book published? Okay, year, tahun. Okay, I need to find the year. Go back to the passage and look very quick. Just use your finger and go through. Where is the year? Find the year and then go back to the question and answer it. Don't try to remember. Go back to the reading to check. So you can skim or scan where you're looking for specific keywords and information in the question. Does that make sense? Okay. Okay. You can also look for vocabulary words, words that are similar in meaning. For the reading test, it's important to have as wide a vocabulary as you can. If you know a lot of different synonyms for words, for example, began, started, okay? Knowing that these are words that have similar meanings, when you are asked about them, you can find them more easily. You'll be able to digest the reading more easily. Okay. All right, next slide, please. All right, here's an example of your reading. Now, I'm going to show you what I just said. I'm not going to read this to you first. Here's what I'm going to do first. I'm going to read the question first. That's what you should do. Read the question first. So, the phrase taken to heart in line 1 is closest in meaning to which of the following? A, taken seriously. B, criticized. C, memorized. D, taken offense. Okay, I don't know. I haven't read it yet. Now I will read. Okay, now you go to the text and you look for taken to heart. Now you're looking specifically for those words. A distinctively American architecture began with Frank Lloyd Wright, who had taken to heart the admonition that from forms should follow function. Oh, okay. So this guy took to heart an admonition that form should follow function. You don't need to know apa itu admonition. It doesn't matter. Enggak penting. You don't need to know that. Who's that? Siapa itu? Frank Lloyd Wright? I don't know. Enggak penting. It's not important. You need to just focus on the question. Taken to heart. In this context, what are they asking? Okay? Now, if you read through it, you'll see form should follow function, and thought of buildings not as separate architectural entities, but as parts of an organic whole. Okay, so his philosophy of architecture. Oh, okay, so this guy is an architect, and this is how he feels about architecture. He thinks it's very important for form and function to go together. So if he thinks it's very important, what's another way to think of something as very important? Is it A, taken seriously, B, criticized, C, memorized, or D, taken offense? What do you think? Yeah. No, it's, next slide please. It's actually A, to take it seriously. If something is important, you take it seriously. So because he feels that this is an important part of the philosophy of architecture, then I know, okay, it must be A. Now, I didn't read the whole passage then. I just found those words, found the sentence, found the context, and then answered that question. Now, you do have to read the whole passage, but you can read it sambil while you're reading the question. Read the question, read the passage. Read the question, read the passage. You don't have to read the whole passage at once and then answer the questions. It's too easy to forget. Okay. The answer is A, taken to heart. It's an idiomatic phrase. It means to take seriously, to take something to heart. All right, next question, please. Thank you. Okay. Now, we're going to stay on the same reading passage. I'm going to show you how to answer the next kind of reading question. All right. Which of the following statements best reflects one of Frank Lloyd Wright's architectural principles? A, beautiful design is more important than utility. B, ecclesiastical architecture should be derived from traditional designs. C, a building should fit into its surroundings. D, the architecture of the public buildings does not need to be revolutionary. Now, I read the question. I don't need to know all of those vocabulary words. Now I need to know, in the passage, where does it talk about his principles, his ideas? So now we go back to the passage, and now we read the rest of it to find exactly where that answer is. Because remember, with reading, all the answers are in the reading. They're all there. You just have to find them. So, we read the first sentence already. In a very real way, the houses of colonial New England and some of the functionalism and authoritative principles for the public. Okay, none of that's about principle. I can skip that. Skip. Functional public, as early as 1906, he built Unity Temple. Okay, still not about principle. Skip. Okay? Therefore, he turned his genius to such miscellaneous structures as houses, school buildings, blah, 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 blah. Okay. Can you see? As early as 1906, he built the Unity Temple in Oak, Illinois, the first of those churches that did so much to revolutionize ecclesiastical architecture in the United States. It does say ecclesial architecture in the question, but is that what they're asking? Let's go back to the question. Ecclesiastical architecture should be derived from traditional designs. But in the reading it says revolutionize. Okay, so it can't be B. Definitely B is no, it's not that one. Do you see what I mean? So as you're reading, you can eliminate some of the questions. I just read the sentence with that word, but it's the opposite. Never mind. Okay? Buildings are not as separate as society, very real houses, colonial New England, some of the functionalism, authoritative principle. Okay, now I know the answer must be up in there. He's talking about principle in that part. Let's focus back in on that. In a very real way, the houses of colonial New England and some southern plantations had been functional, but Wright was the first architect to make functionalism the authoritative principle for public as well as domestic buildings. That sounds more like the principal question. Based on that, where would you say the answer is? A, B, C, or D? We know it's not B. B is the opposite. All right, next slide, please. Yes, the answer is C. It should fit into the design as parts of an organic whole that included the land, the community, and the society. So as you go through, you can eliminate questions while you're reading just by cross-checking the question and the reading passage, the vocabulary. Okay. Next slide, please. All right. Ooh. Can we go back one? Thanks. All right. So that's all three of the different sections. I know it's a lot to take in. The key thing to remember with reading is that you need to read the question and then go find the answer. Don't read the passage and then answer the questions. It's too much information. Go back to the passage, read, skim, scan if you're looking for, is it a year, is it a phrase, Is it a noun? What is the question asking me? Go back and find that. Okay? Now, are there any questions on the reading? No. Okay. All right. So, for all three of the sections, obviously, it's testing your skills across vocabulary, grammar, and your basic understanding of some of the idiomatic uses of English. It's testing your listening and your reading skills, yeah, but it's knowing what to listen to and knowing what to read for that will help you answer the questions better. You can find lots of practice materials online. If you are looking specifically for practice written and structure, or for practice reading, you can look for TOEFL IBT materials online. Okay? For listening, there are tons of listening practice for free on YouTube. You can find listening practice. It will give you the question, it will give you the dialogues. Listen and test yourself. So you do have time. I know your test is on the 12th. It's pretty soon. But you do have time to practice. Practice with friends, okay? Practice in your spare time. Also, try to use as much English as you can between now and the 12th. The more English you practice, the better you will do. Your English speaking brain will switch on a bit faster if you practice more. So reading articles online, reading books, reading comics, listening to music, watching films. Now, if you watch films, if you watch with the subtitle, it's okay. But if you are reading the subtitle, you're practicing reading, not listening. To practice listening, matiin subtitle niya. Turn off the subtitles. Then it's a listening practice, because you're listening while you watch. If you have subtitles on, you're practicing reading. So be careful not to rely on subtitles if you're trying to practice your listening. Same with YouTube. Be careful with YouTube. Auto subtitles sometimes are not so good. So be careful if you're going to be watching YouTube videos. If they're auto-generated subtitles, hit and miss. So be careful with those. Okay. Yeah. Stay calm. Get a good night's sleep before your exam. Practice English as much as you can before the test day. Try to think in English as much as you can before the test day. Use social media. SOSMED in English, there's English everywhere. You can use social media in English. You can watch films and do posts or whatever. Watch YouTube videos. Try to immerse yourself as much as you can to help you prepare for the day. Okay. Thank you very much. I hope that helped. I know it's super fast flyby, but I hope I gave you some tips so that you can feel a little bit more prepared for your test next week. Good luck. Best of luck to you guys. Thank you so much for listening. I know that there's going to be a few more sections here. But thank you very much. Best of luck on your test. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much, Mrs. Tiana. Well, okay. Sekarang, setelah Mrs. Tiana give it to you about our material for this day, kita ada testimoni dari salah satu mahasiswa winner ya, the winner of awardee of IISMAS program. Kita ada Ashila Humaira from English Literature Study Program yang akan join melalui Zoom pada pagi hari ini. Kita lihat dulu di Zoom sebentar. Oke, halo Sheila. Apakah Sheila sudah bergabung? Halo Sheila, hai.
Halo Miss Andi.
Halo, apa kabar?
Baik, Alhamdulillah Miss.
Oke, sudah kembali ke Indonesia saat ini?
Belum, masih di Malaysia.
Masih di Malaysia. Oke, perkenalkan di depan kalian ada salah satu mahasiswa, rekan-rekan kalian juga mungkin ada dari sastra Inggris yang mengenal Ashila Humaira adalah ISMA Program Awardee ya Sheila ya.
Iya, betul
Oke,
Miss.
Ashila di universitas mana sekarang menempuh ilmunya?
Saya awardee ISMA 2023 keterima di Universitas Kebangsaan Malaysia.
Oke, di Universitas Kebangsaan Malaysia. Give big applause to Ashila please. Oke, Ashila bisa sharing ke teman-teman kamu semua yang ada di aula ini mengenai kegiatan yang telah kamu lakukan from the beginning until today sebelum kamu mengikuti ISMA sampai setelah dan sedang proses ISMA di Malaysia. Dari
Oke, jadi
yes,
sedikit.
in English boleh, di mix boleh, well up to you. Silakan Ashila.
Okay, so a brief information about the ISMA. ISMA is Indonesian International Student Mobility Awards that allows their awardees to take one semester program to study abroad in many universities around the world and in many continents too. For me, I got accepted to Universitas Kebangsaan Malaysia. Jadi untuk sebelum saya mendapat award ISMA ini, ada salah satu ketentuan atau persyaratan yang diwajibkan untuk dimiliki pendaftarnya, yaitu English Proficiency Test Certificate atau sertifikat kemampuan bahasa Inggris. Jadi dari ISMA sendiri menerima 3 jenis tes, antaranya adalah TOEFL IBT, IELTS, atau Duolingo. Nah, kalau saya kemarin mengambil Duolingo English Test, tapi karena tema hari ini TOEFL kan ya, berarti salah satu tes yang juga diterima oleh ISMA adalah TOEFL IBT, yaitu TOEFL Internet Based Test. Kalau sama ITP beda kan ya kan, kalau ITP itu pakai paper dan untuk institusional aja, tapi kalau yang IBT itu Internet Based Test itu melalui internet dan menggunakan komputer begitu. Jadi saya di sini menjadi mahasiswa Universitas Kebangsaan Malaysia atau UKM selama 1 semester dari sampai Februari 12 Februari nanti.
Okay, Ashila, could you tell us about your experience in the test of English? Kamu ikut tes Englishnya sebelum berangkat, tes apakah?
Duolingo English Test.
Oke, Duolingo English Test. Format atau soal Duolingo English Test itu seperti apa sih Ashila? Bisa sharing ke teman-teman?
Duolingo English Test itu sama kayak TOEFL IBT, itu melalui komputer atau online. Jadi di IT ini bisa dilakukan di mana aja karena online dan tidak diwajibkan untuk pergi ke satu tempat seperti IELTS atau TOEFL IBT gitu. Dan juga di IT ini lebih ke arah interactive questions. Pertanyaan-pertanyaan yang diberikan Duolingo English Test ini berbeda dari TOEFL IBT atau IELTS. Jadi lebih ke, I would say it's like a game questions. Banyak yang banyak gambarnya, banyak fill in the blanks seperti itu.
Yeah, it's quite a bit almost relate with TOEIC also ya. With the TOEIC test,
Yeah.
in the TOEIC test, It's related with the picture, but the question of course all in English, right?
Betul.
Betul. Okay. How about essay? Do you need?
Essay.
Yes.
So one of another requirement from ISMA is to make an essay about ourselves. Jadi esainya itu ada 4 pertanyaan esai. Semuanya itu harus dijawab atau ditulis dalam bahasa Inggris begitu.
Oke. Ashila, ada nggak sih saran kamu untuk teman-teman kamu nih yang ada di aula pada siang hari ini? Penting nggak sih Ashila menguasai TOEFL itu? Is it important to learn English?
Menurut saya it's very important because aside from it is also one of the requirements to graduate from UBSI. It's one of the requirements, right? Untuk dapat wisudanya itu juga bisa menjadi nilai plus saat mencari pekerjaan atau mungkin seperti yang tadi Miss Tiana udah jelaskan kayak mencari pekerjaan atau lanjut kuliah S2 atau S3 di universitas dalam negeri maupun luar negeri pasti juga akan dinilai kemampuan berbahasa Inggrisnya begitu.
Oke. Cukup dipahami ya rekan-rekan semua pentingnya bahasa Inggris dan Ashila ini berhasil lolos di SMAS Programs Award because of English also ya Ashila ya. Bukan hanya bahasa Indonesia ya, dan memang tidak pakai bahasa Indonesia ya Ashila ya. Semua persyaratannya in English ya. Ya kan? Oke. Ashila, we have a guest speaker today. Oke.
Yeah.
Ada Mrs. Tiana. Do you have any question for Mrs. Tiana that relate about our topic TOEFL and tips and tricks how to do the TOEFL test?
Maybe because I'm actually I'm not really familiar with TOEFL IBT because I didn't take it. I only took some TOEFL free TOEFL practice test from
PBT.
Instagram or something like that. Yeah. So I think I want some. I would like to ask Miss Diana for some tips in doing TOEFL IBT in particular, not ITP, IBT.
Do you have any tips and tricks, Miss Tiana?
That's a good question. This is an important point. The TOEFL paper-based test, the PBT, the one that we did our presentation on today, this is not the test that you use abroad. This is only for local institutions, BUMN, scholarship programs here in Indonesia. Abroad, yes, you would have to do the IBT, the internet-based test. And the question was about differences in how to study for the IBT, yeah?
Yes.
Well, the main difference is that we do the IBT test to go abroad because we want to focus on productive skills as well. So not just reading and listening. Yes, they are important. But if you study abroad, you need to produce the language too. So you should be able to write an essay response and also speaking. Now, for an IBT test, I recommend studying or taking a course for the IBT in order to practice productive skills. Reading and listening are very important, but if you are going to use the IBT to study abroad or work abroad, productive skills practice is very, very important.
Okay, good. Take a note, okay? That's quite clearly for me. How about the students? How about Ashila? Is it clear enough?
Yes, it's clear. Thank you, Miss Tiana.
My pleasure. Okay, Ashila, now we are open question and answer session from all your friends here. Please raise your hand. You may have a question to Ashila or even to our guest speakers about our topics today. Raise your hand please for the questions. Ada pertanyaan? Silakan untuk Ashila Bisa juga, of course, for our native di sini, our speaker today. Pertanyaan seputar topik kita hari ini, apakah sudah cukup memahami tentang tips dan trik bagaimana sih memahami soal TOEFL dengan cepat, menjawabnya dengan cepat. Remember, when you are doing the TOEFL test, you have only 2 hours, okay, for the whole questions. Gimana cara menjawab dengan cepat dari soal starting from the listening, the structured written expression in 40 questions, and you have 50 questions in reading, approximately 55 minutes only. Okay, we have a question on the back. Mr. Ari, where are you? Could you help me please on the back one? Our first questions. Please sebutkan namanya, dari prodi apa dan cabang apa. Silahkan.
Bismillah, assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Hello, I am Rizky Akbar Bani. You can call me Kibar. I'm from apa prodi bahasa Inggrisnya? Prodi Rekayasa Perangkat Lunak, Software Engineering. I have 2 questions for you, Miss Tiana. First question is not about TOEFL, but I just curious why we have to learn TOEFL and grammar when English people itself is not use the grammar and TOEFL. That's the first question, and the second question. Will idioms be used in TOEFL questions? Thank you. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Okay, thank you very much for your questions. I'll answer the second question first, which is, will idioms be used? Yes, idioms will be on the TOEFL paper-based test, the IBT test. It will be phrases that you may have heard already in song lyrics or in films, but not phrases you tend to hear in academic texts. That's what idioms are. Idiomatic phrases are phrases that we use in everyday speech that don't necessarily enter academic format. So that is one of the tricky parts of the test. The first question was about why you're taking the TOEFL PBT. Yeah, do you want to answer that one, or?
Okay, for the first question, you are asking about why you should take a PBT test, but the PBT is not use it to go abroad, right? Okay. First of all, the reason that you are ready should follow the PBT test from Lembaga Bahasa from our university adalah satu apa? Sudah paham pastinya ya kan? Sudah sering kita informasikan. Persyaratan untuk mendapatkan atau mengambil sertifikat ijazah kalian saat kalian nanti selesai adalah melengkapi SKPI kalian. Salah satunya adalah kelengkapan sertifikatnya itu adalah sertifikat TOEFL. Itu udah peraturan dari kampus. Oke, edaran sudah diberikan dan itu harus diikuti. Second one, alasan kenapa kalian harus memiliki sertifikat tersebut karena kampus atau university, our university ingin kalian memiliki keterampilan dalam hal bahasa Inggris. Kita masih pakai PBT di sini, paper based test. Oke, untuk memfasilitasi seluruh mahasiswa kita karena keterbatasan penguasaan bahasa Inggris. Oke, I think Mrs. Tiana already explained to you the differences between the PBT and also IBT ya Miss ya. Kita bicara mengenai PBT, you can read all the questions okay on the paper, or even though we are sharing on the Zoom session okay for the question. When we are talking about IBT, this is the online one task, okay? You cannot read again for the question because we are talking about the waktu yang running time, berjalan, benar begitu? IBT itu kan mengerjakannya directly, tidak ada yang namanya sharing materi terlebih dahulu untuk di-share dibaca. Karena satu mahasiswa satu, ini keterbatasan dari penguasaan bahasa Inggris kalian. Kita belum memiliki IBT, kita masih menggunakan PBT. Jadi beberapa universitas menggunakan apa yang dimilikinya, baik itu PBT ataupun IBT, tapi overall sih masih pakai PBT. Kalau untuk internal purposes, karena ini kan internal purposes, untuk penguasaan, untuk kelengkapan sertifikat, untuk kalian melamar pekerjaan, ini adalah salah satu sertifikat yang harus kalian miliki saat kalian lulus. IBT dan PBT itu berbeda, kesulitannya juga berbeda. Benar begitu, Miss Tiana? IB itu more complex for the questions, and how to answer all the question is also the same, ya, Miss? Is it correct? Yeah, you are explain to them to learn more how to speak, right? And more overall, kalau kita bicara mengenai PBT yang telah kita pelajari kalian tentunya sudah cukup memahami dari pelatihan-pelatihan secara online yang dilakukan tim lembaga bahasa kemarin saat PBT. Kalian melihat soalnya, ya kan? Kalian jawab. Kalian bisa membaca ulang kembali. Kalau di IBT, you can do that. Jawab next. Jawab next. You can go to previous page. What? Okay. Kesulitannya of course lebih sulit IBT. PBT, no, lower. Itu yang kami cari. Tidak terlalu sulit dan menyulitkan mahasiswa kami, tapi memiliki sertifikat yang cukup untuk mengambil ijazah kalian nanti dan bisa digunakan untuk melamar pekerjaan ataupun serangkaian kelengkapan sertifikat nantinya. Is that complete my explanation antara PBT dan IBT? Tidak menutup kemungkinan setelah kalian do the PBT task, nantinya kalian mau ikut IBT, you wanna go abroad, dipersilahkan. Tapi sampai saat ini saya bisa berbicara, kami memberikannya PBT, belum sampai ke IBT. Seperti itu. Is that complete? Is that enough, Mister?
Yep.
Okay. Thank you so much for your best questions. Oke, sekarang ada pertanyaan lagi yang lainnya? Oke, Mr. Hari.
Ya.
Sini, Mister. In the middle. Oh, ada juga di sana. Sini dulu ya.
Later on ya.
Okay, we have a question again.
Good afternoon, Miss Siana. I'm Hansel Galeano from English Literature of Universitas Selamat. I have a question about written expression section. Yes, I found some kind of confused when to answer the question. My question is, do you have a quick tips to answer the question about the written expression, since it's a kind of ambiguity when answer the question? Thank you.
Thank you, Hansel, for the best questions. Okay.
Thank you for the question. That's a good question. Hansel, thank you, Hansel. The structure questions are difficult. They are tricky. My tip is to read the question carefully and to use a process of elimination. What answer is definitely wrong? Kadang-kadang ada pilihan yang jelas enggak itu. Jadi itu dibuang dulu. Jadi get rid of the ones you know it can't be first. Then usually you end up with two. Oh, maybe B, maybe C. Nah, go back to the question, try again. Is it bisa pakai ini? Not quite bisa pakai ini. Okay. Jadi you have to kind of make it interactive. Try to eliminate what it cannot be first, and then choose what is left. I say is the easiest one. But you have to be quick. Harus agak cepat karena you only get like 20 seconds, 30 seconds so you have to be careful. But it's a good question. Sorry.
Oke. Jadi this is relate dengan penguasaan vocabulary ya, where we are talking about this vocabulary and try to fit it that answer into the sentences as the question ya. Ya, quite a bit seperti itu. Jadi saat kalian mengerjakan soal structure, kalian tentunya memiliki A, B, C, D as your answer, as the options, benar? Nah, cara cepat memahami untuk mengisinya adalah memahami dulu optionnya tersebut, kira-kira yang fit into the sentence itu yang mana. Dan paling cepat, that from Mrs. Tiana is clear for me also. Kalau saya menambahkan di sini, saat kalian kemarin belajar mengenai structure in the workshop, even itu online ya, paling cepat adalah cari subjek, cari verb, cari objek. Kemarin diajarin kan? Structure, subjek, objek, ya seperti tadi saya bilang, yang dicari di dalam structure tersebut apanya? Subjeknya yang tidak ada atau ada. Verbnya ada tidak, objeknya ada. Paling cepat itu, lihat option seperti Miss Tiana bilang, optionnya itu yang dibutuhkan di soal tersebut apakah subjek, apakah verb, apakah objek. Oke, atau preposition yang untuk melengkapi soal tersebut. Jadi, before you are answering about the question in the structure written expression, read first the option ABCD-nya. Oke, after that langsung masukin ke sentence-nya. Lihat, butuhnya apa? Apakah subjek? Cari subjek. Kalian tentu tahu ya, subjek itu terdiri dari apa saja dalam sebuah kalimat. This is the same when you are learning bahasa Indonesia. Subjek biasanya apa saja sih? Bisa pronoun, bener ya? Bisa nama orang, bisa nama sebuah kegiatan, bisa nama sebuah tempat, ya kan, kata benda. Subjek itu tidak hanya terdiri dari satu kata, dia bisa panjang. Tapi verb atau kata kerja atau to be tentu kalian sudah paham. Kata kerja sesuatu, kegiatan yang dilakukan, even it's jumping, writing. Yang melakukan sesuatu adalah kata kerja. Setelah subjek ada kata kerja, bukan begitu? Jika yang dibutuhkan kata kerja, cari seperti Miss Tiana bilang di optionnya, kata kerjanya yang mana. Jadi paling cepat adalah memahami dulu ABCD-nya yang masuk kemana nih, kira-kira fit in the sentence-nya. Cara cepat saya mengerjakan seperti itu, saya sharing ke kalian. Oke, thank you so much for the question and for the answer Miss Tiana. Oke, now any question? Again, please, tadi ada yang sebelah sana ya? Oke. Sekarang jam berapa ya? Sudah jam 12 kah? Oh, panjang koornya. One question lagi ya, satu question lagi dari teman yang di sebelah sana. Silakan.
Alright, thank you for the opportunity. First of all, hello, my name is Regina. I am from Campus Cut Mutia, and my question is also about the structure, and it's quite similar from the previous one. And my question is about the tenses. There are so many tenses that are slightly similar to each other. And what should we do to increase our skill for the specific part? Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. This is still talking about the structure ya? Ya Miss ya? Miss Ari, could you give the mic to the students please? Come on. This is interaktif ya, langsung berbicara sama Miss Tiananya, langsung ngobrol langsung. Okay, you are asking about structure ya, Miss?
Yeah, also about the structure.
Okay, langsung ditanya, tanya jawab sama Miss Tiana langsung ya. Kamu pegang mic-nya.
Okay.
Silakan Miss.
Yes, thank you very much for the question. Good question. Yes, you are right. Often it's two very similar, it ends up being two very similar options. Now, when the difference is very small, check for very specific things like plurals and singulars, or articles, or prepositions. So prepositions in, on, at, to, for, those little words, those are prepositions. Articles, a and the. So focus on those differences. If you have two possible options, so The one that you know is wrong, throw that out. The one that you know is wrong, okay, throw that out. Now I've got two, B or C. A nearly or nearly as your answer, for example. Focus in on the difference between the two, whatever the small difference is. Often it's plural, often it's a preposition, or it's an article, a, the, is this necessary or not? Now those are very, very tricky questions. And again, you often don't have that much time to think about it. So thinking about how the sentence sounds in your head will help. Does this sound right or not? So try to hear your own head voice while you read it to yourself. Substitute both of them. Which one sounds better? And then go with that. But remember, you can't spend too much time thinking about it. So you just kind of got to go with what you think sounds right in your head. If you replace them. I hope that helps.
So, gimana Miss?
Yeah, thank you so
Cukup
much.
dipahami?
Yep.
It's
Bisa
clear enough?
dipahami.
Oke, bisa masuk ya ke dalam
Iya.
ini ya kamu.
Iya, masuk,
Oke,
Bu.
pola kerja. Lumayan mudah juga ya untuk similar sound, pronunciation, what is it? Kira-kira mana nih yang masuk? Langsung think fast. Ya, iya benar. Saat mengerjakan TOEFL itu jangan terlalu lama berpikir untuk satu soal, everyone. Ingat, satu soal 1 menit. Yang tadi Mrs. Tiana share ke kalian, cara cepat menjawabnya adalah kalian langsung berpikir, itu fokus ya. Number one is focus, right? Ya kan? Langsung fokus pada intinya soal tersebut. Kira-kira yang mana nih yang suitable to complete the sentences? Exactly, seperti itu. Nalarnya langsung dipakai, pemahamannya langsung dipakai. Kita must still have a time sampai tanggal 12 Februari sampai 13 Februari for you to increase your vocabulary skill, guys. Oke, rajin-rajin mendengarkan, membaca yang relate with the TOEIC, lagi TOEFL maksud saya. Jadi saya harapkan skor 400 di luar prodi-sasing itu ada semua dari kalian. Dan prodi-sasing ingat skor kalian adalah 500. Oke, last before saya tutup kegiatan kita pada siang hari ini, Mrs. Tiana, do you have any suggestion to them or any references link perhaps to them to learn about the TOEFL, about the listening or about structure perhaps you want to share?
Yeah, so go online, check out some of the resources online remember you're looking for PBT, not IBT. That one's different. But there are lots of resources online and practice tests online that you can do. YouTube is a very easy resource for practice listening. Do it with your friends. Try to make it fun. Try not to be too stressed out. Do a little bit every day. A little bit of practice every day, including watching films, reading, anything, listening in English will help you gain your confidence. So try and do a little bit every day between now and then, and hopefully you will feel more confident to take it.
Amin. Semoga ya, confidence is number one. Okay, big applause to our speaker today. Okay, everyone. Is it Asila still on cam?
No, I don't think so, Miss.
It's
I
done?
have to give some information to students, Miss.
Yes.
Excuse me, before you end this event.
Yes.
Yeah. For students, ya. Untuk jurusan sekali lagi ya. Untuk jurusan administrasi perkantoran, administrasi bisnis, perhotelan, humas atau PR dan ilmu komunikasi, tes TOEFL-nya ikut dengan really English, ya. Jadi nanti sudah tidak ada yang bertanya lagi. Tesnya kapan? Yaitu akhir Februari. Untuk tanggalnya belum pasti, ya. Sekali lagi, untuk jurusan administrasi perkantoran, administrasi bisnis, perhotelan, humas atau PR, dan ilmu komunikasi. Tesnya ikut dengan Really English dari Universitas Esa Unggul. Ya, jadwalnya adalah akhir Februari. Untuk tanggalnya belum pasti. Oke, saya akan share untuk mahasiswa yang ikut tes dengan lembaga bahasa. Sebentar.
Oke. Terima kasih Mr. Ari for the adding information. Oke, saya hampir lupa dengan sebagian dari kalian ada yang dari Really English. Di garis bawahi ya, for Really English, for the TOEFL test is not on 12 and 13 February, but on the last of this month February. Nanti info akan kami dari tim lembaga bahasa dan Really English share ke kalian di grup Telegram. Jika temannya belum ada yang bergabung di grup Telegram, please share to them, okay? Help them to get the information. Ingat ya, there is no question anymore in Wapri, Telegram secara pribadi, or even though di grup. Jadi cukup dipahami. Oke.
Sorry.
Ada lagi Mr. Ari?
Oke, ya ada lagi. Ini salah jadwalnya ya. Sebentar. Ini tanggal 12 dan tanggal 13. Sorry, ini salah.
Okay, this is the schedule, isn't it?
Iya.
And also the time?
Untuk teman-teman yang ikut dengan lembaga bahasa, jadwal tesnya adalah tanggal 12 dan 13 Februari, minggu depan ya. Jadi teman-teman bisa dicek di My Best, kelas A, kelas B, dan kelas C jadwalnya berbeda ya, jadwalnya berbeda. Jadi silakan difoto, dicatat, dan diingat ya. Untuk tes TOEFL jadwalnya berbeda. Untuk kelas A, kelas B tanggal 12.
Oke, ini schedule-nya ya.
Oke, ya ada revisi dari Miss Retno, katanya kelas B di tanggal 12 ya.
Iya malam, benar, sesi malam.
Silakan cek teman-teman di aplikasi My Best, kalian masuk kelas apa? Kelas A, kelas B, atau kelas C? Ya, karena berbeda sesi, berbeda soal ya. Dan kita akan menggunakan Zoom plus My Best untuk listening. Ya, untuk listening. Jadi teman-teman nanti yang terlambat datang masuk Zoom tidak akan bisa atau menyelesaikan soal listening dengan sempurna. Maka oleh karena itu diwajibkan mahasiswa 15 menit sebelum listening test sudah ada di Zoom, sudah standby ya. Jadi saya harapkan sudah tidak ada pertanyaan lagi mengenai TOEFL test. Oke, sudah jelas ya? Ada pertanyaan, teman-teman? Ada pertanyaan? Disampaikan teman-teman yang belum datang pada hari ini. Tolong disampaikan teman-teman yang tidak bisa datang hari ini atau besok ya. Jadi tesnya tanggal 12 dan 13 sesuai dengan jadwal untuk tes TOEFL oleh lembaga bahasa. Oke, Miss Yanti, mungkin bisa dilanjutkan.
Ya, thank you so much Mr. Ari. Sudah take a picture, sudah diambil fotonya. Jikalau Anda lupa, kalian masuknya di grup A, B, or C, please take a look your My Best. Ingat ya, nanti saya akan cek My Best-nya, ada tidak yang sama sekali tidak pernah login di My Best untuk mengerjakan latihan-latihannya, akan saya blacklist. Oke, akan saya tandai dan saya blacklist, untuk TOEFL testnya akan saya tandai juga. Dan otomatis tidak akan saya berikan sertifikat. Buka My Best-nya, rajin lihat latihan-latihannya for practice. Sebelum tanggal 11 Februari saya tutup My Best-nya. Oke, semuanya cukup dipahami ya. Semangat pagi. Good job. Oke, rangkaian kegiatan kita pada siang hari dari pagi sampai siang hari ini sudah selesai. Kurang lebih 2 jam sudah kita bersua dalam satu ruangan yang sama dengan pemateri kita yang cantik, jelita, and really good, okay, material for today. Saya harap kalian dapatkan ilmu, dapatkan masukan, tips dan trik cara mengerjakan TOEFL test untuk kita ketemu nanti secara Zoom with me tanggal 12 pagi kita ketemu ya. Semangat untuk semuanya, hati-hati di jalan everyone. Oke, thank you so much for this morning. Jangan pergi dulu. Halo. I'm not told you. I'm not tell you that you can move out from your chair, please. We will have a documentation for a while. Okay, we take a picture for a while with our speaker. Baiknya berdiri ya, Miss Rari, kita foto dari depan seperti waktu itu ya. Oke, Miss Tiana, kita foto dulu di sini. Mr. Ari, Miss Retno, have a camera from my mobile ada di sana. Oke. Oke, everyone bisa berdiri. Belakang berdiri dulu sebentar, kita mau foto sebelum kalian pulang buat dokumentasi kalian. Nanti saya share di akun Telegram Lembaga Bahasa dan akun Telegram Really English juga. Tolong di-share. Tolong di-share, tolong berdiri. Yang di belakang kelihatan ya sama Miss Retno kalau belum berdiri. Oh, boleh maju dulu buat foto, kelihatan kosong soalnya, it's not good. Nanti masukin ke press release. Maju di sini di line ini, Mbak. Iya, jadi kelihatan wajahnya. Buat foto doang, habis itu kita pulang. Yuk, maju berdirinya sederetan ini. Jadi nggak kelihatan kosong, panjang sampai sana oke. Ayo foto, boleh dari bangku cuma jangan kelihatan kosong ya. Let's go, ayo. Move, cepat bergerak yang sebelah sana, sebelah kanan saya. Mister dan Miss cepat foto, tidak boleh ada yang keluar dari gedung ini sebelum kita selesai foto. Silakan maju dulu sebentar, jangan kelihatan kosong, soal di foto kelihatan kosong. Ini bangku kosong, ayo cepetan Miss, mempercepat waktu. Gemes saya. Ayo cepetan, move, let's go, semangatnya mana? Tadi kata semangat pagi. Ayo, maju Miss, nggak apa-apa mau foto. Saya nggak ngapa-ngapain, nggak nanya lagi nggak. Yuk biar penuh. Yuk kelihatannya kosong soalnya di line kedua ini. Ayo cepat, belakang cepat, move. Nih mahasiswa sebelah sana. Ayo dong cepetan maju. Miss Retno kelihatan kosong nggak? Udah. Oke. Silakan lihat kamera sebentar. Bikin video semangat pagi ya. Ya real kuliahnya aja ya. Kalau saya bilang kuliah. Pinter, yang kenceng ya, yang di belakang, oke saya mau dengar suaranya. Oke Miss Retno, siap, video guys. 1, 2. Kuliah. Yes, thank you so much everyone. Terima kasih, sampai jumpa. Hati-hati di jalan ya.